males.
Yeah.
You look good.
I haven't quite.
The officers will take their respective stations. All persons not members of the VFW will train to retire, and the guard will close the door.
Jerry, you're the guard tonight.
I brought a license plate.
Yeah, put that credit card back in your pocket.
All present accounted for.
Thank you. All that power and authority vested in me, I'm about to open VFW Post 10818 for the transaction of any business that may lawfully come before it. Officer today, you already did that. You satisfied yourself, everyone's entitled to remain. All rise, prepare to salute the colors. Attention. Present arms. Quarter arms. Uncover. Chaplain, will you lead us in the opening prayer?
You bow your heads, please. O sovereign ruler of the universe, who art the Lord of hosts and God of peace, without thee our efforts are in vain. Continue thy blessing upon us and our families, we pray thee, and guide us during our deliberations. We beseech thee, O God, to bless the dependents of our departed comrades, and to comfort all who gave their loved ones to our nation's cause. Bless and strengthen the sick, the needy, and the afflicted. Bless, we ask thee, the widows and children in our national home, and help us to fulfill our duty towards them. Continue thy favor upon our order, and help us to practice the spirit of true comradeship, both in our councils and with the world at large. Enable us to better the community in which we live through our devotion to duty as citizens. We now have a moment of silent prayer for our departed comrades, for those missing in action, and those held as prisoners of war. These and all other necessary blessings we ask of thee, mighty rulers of the universe, we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chaplain. Cover. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Present arms. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order arms. At ease, be seated. We are assembled again to transact business of mutual benefit. Do not let petty jealousies or trivial personalities influence our deliberation. Okay. Please read Section 3 of the Congressional Charter. Sheets. Purpose of the VFW. The purpose is the incorporation of our fraternal, patriotic, historical, charitable, and educational, and are to preserve and strengthen comradeship among its members, to assist worthy comrades, perpetuate the memory of our dead and citizens of the world, to maintain true allegiance to the government of the United States and fidelity to the Constitution and laws, to foster true patriotism, to maintain and extend the institutions of American freedom, and to preserve and defend the United States from all enemies. And now declare VFW Post 10818 duly open for the transaction of business. Guard, you may admit beginning and waiting who may be worthy. Okay, calling the roll of officers.
Commander Bob Drawmeyer.
Here.
Senior Vice Commander Len Brewer.
Here.
Junior Vice Commander Jason Pomeroy.
Here.
Quartermaster Mitch Klein.
Here.
Adjutant Ron Ramos, I'm here. Judge Advocate John Mortensen.
Here.
Chaplain Melzine.
Here.
Surgeon Nate Rear.
Here.
Officer of the Day Roger Olson. Service Officer Gary Christian.
Here.
3-year Trustee Dave Sherricks.
Here.
2-year Trustee Brent Bush.
Present.
1-year Trustee Diane Brewer.
Here.
Personal account for you.
Thank you. New membership applications.
We have 2 new members. Both has been vetted. First one is Donald Seiler. I hope I'm saying that right. Army, looks like qualifying service is Vietnam. I do have DD 214 and payment is up to date. And then I have Ronald Johnson, Army as well, and Vietnam service as well. Payment is good to go as well, so they are current standing.
So we need to vote on these members?
Yep.
Make a motion that we accept these two members. Thank you. Need a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of accepting these 2 new members, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Commander,
Yes, sir.
may I introduce new member Don Settler? Please stand.
Done. Thank you.
Don, to see you.
Put him in the hot seat, you gotta take his coat off. Okay. Reading the minutes of the last meeting. While Ron's doing that, let me point out, don't go over to the auxiliary. I left there with a wound tonight. I was bleeding pretty good. One of them tripped me and I went down trying to catch myself in the back of the chair and took a chunk of hide off. But I think the reason they did that was,
They don't like you.
no, we flew, that's true. But
They didn't want you to come back, that's what the deal was.
We flew up to Spooner this weekend, and my wife's gonna love me for telling you guys this, but I walked around the front of the helicopter to open her door, and I did, and I turned around and looked, and she was laying on the ground. She stepped out right in front of everybody. I don't know if she stepped on the skid or what she didn't hurt herself, but there she is laying there.
She spread the word, yeah, Bob.
I think she put them up to. You gotta watch them.
All right, I have the meeting, the minutes for the meeting of October. Meeting was held on October 18th. Commander Bob Drawmeyer called the meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance was said by all members. Opening prayer was led by Chaplain Melzine. The charter was draped in honor of fallen comrade Thomas Hess. Roll call of officers, 12 present, 1 absent. 6 new members were presented to the membership. All 6 applicants were vetted and found eligible. A motion was made to approve the membership and the motion passed. Minutes for September meeting was read by Ron Ramos. No corrections to minutes made. Minutes approved pending names of members who made the motions are added to the minutes. I did make those corrections this afternoon on my lunch break, so they are at the post as of today. Quartermaster report by Mitch Klein, cash balance of $172,076.55. Building funds balance is $65,181.16. Financial report was not given by me, it was given by Danny Handrahan. I don't know why it says that, but Dave Green gave a report on Sportsman Banquet. It grossed $76,363. The expenses totaled $33,647.25, with a net profit of $43,015.75. Motion was made to increase the bond to $200,000. The audio was muffled, so I hope that was the right amount. But I know we did make the motion to increase that bond since we hit that limit.
Yes, it is. I see it.
And that motion was passed. We voted to no longer do the car show, but to increase more events such as the Cedar Lake Speedway with the raffle, the 50-50 raffle, I think it was. It seemed to bring more profit for less manpower. So we did vote at the finance meeting to no longer do the car show. Ken House received a $1,000 grant to help with the road for the new post. Ken has also applied for a $25,000 grant for the building. If approved, it is recommended that the post give $5,000 back to the district for helping the unmet needs when they gave to us, and we would retain the remaining $20,000. Ken House would also like somebody to take over the VFW store. If not, if you don't have anybody willing to take over the store, anything needed will be subject to the availability of post officers. So essentially, you have to second call of the officers who are there who can get it to you when they can get it to you. Gary Christian needed some help with some medical equipment, so if we had any volunteers to get some there. Dave Sherris reminded us about the Veterans Day programs and the flag foldings being held in November. I did not have a report from Gary Christian last month, but it might have been muffled because the audio was cut off. Don't know why. So I'll get with him, see if there was, and we'll make sure we correct that on this month's meeting minutes. For business, new and old, motion was made for disbursement of $1,900 to the pancake breakfast. The motion was passed to disperse that if needed. Bob Teagan gave report for car show. The car show profited $1,132.10. The pancake breakfast from the car show generated more than half of the total profits. Post decided to discontinue the car show due to profit versus labor costs, but left the research open to find another party to host the car show, and we would continue to do the pancake breakfast if that option was available. Ken House discussed the Hmong Memorial that the VFW attended. It was a great event, and it's important to recognize their contribution they've had in the Vietnam War. Ron Ramos discussed the new membership section of the Post website. Any member can request access as long as they are a member in good standing. Pete Breed, I think that's his last name. I want to make sure I got that right. Okay, I'm missing an E then. Commented on the audit that he performed. We did a wonderful job and are doing great things in retrospect to the other posts in the district. He complimented us on voting in 6 new members during that meeting and recognized our successful sportsman's banquet. We are a great example for other posts to follow. Commander Bob Jawmeyer discussed the Buddy Poppies. We still need a chairperson to organize the Buddy Poppy events for Veterans Day distribution. The Post made a motion to buy 5 calendars for a total of $100. That motion was passed. Discussed Veterans Day events. We would like as large a turnout as possible. We are scheduled to be represented as a Post from November 8th to the 11th. Dave Green talked about the Welcome Home the Post participated in for a high school reunion class in Baldwin. We welcome home Vietnam veterans who have served, and it was very well received. Closing prayer was led by Melzine. The meeting adjourned at 21:01. The next meeting is November 15th.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are there any corrections to the minutes?
Yeah, you can, I was hunting in North Dakota.
Okay.
That's why there's no.
That's why it was muffled.
Okay. Well, I heard something, but part of the meeting for some reason
Okay,
cut off there. So I wasn't sure if you had a part in that or not.
They just didn't hear you when you were giving it. That's all.
You're a long ways off.
Did you get it?
Oh, yeah.
Did I see another hand? Was that it? Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes as they stand with that one correction, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Quartermaster. carries. Report of the Gary Christian, service officer.
That remark that Ken made about taking a long time to be stupid, I'm a perfect example of that. I knew that's who you were referring to.
It was.
So anyhow, yeah, I was gone a month ago, so there wasn't any really report for that. We did have good pheasant, very good. And I got one rooster that had shoulders on him and spurs about a 3/4 inch long, pure ivory. I mean, it was the biggest rooster I've ever shot. Big one. And a tail feather about like.
Are you fishing?
We continue to help veterans, not at an alarming rate, but at a steady rate. The most recent being a young woman that returned from Cuba, Guantanamo Bay. I can't imagine why she's back, but probably not a lot of prisoners down there to take care of right now. But anyhow, she's back, and the Army released this person. She had planned on still being in the Army for another 4 or 5 months anyhow. And so now she's without a job and behind on everything, so we're helping her out. Saturday, or this past week, as you all know, was Veterans Day. And a lot of the guys here were involved in honor guard, color guard, and things like that for that whole week. There was like 4 different events. And then Saturday, I went to the car show. And usually Dave Sherritts does that. I think he was tied up or something. But went to the car show in Hudson. They donated a whole table that long. You guys are sitting full of toys for the Christmas party, which is going to be on December 17th. And yeah, on December 17th is coming month. I've just passed out some, how do you term that, Brent?
Voluntold.
Yeah, some voluntolds. And I'd like to have those back by the 25th if possible. Anyhow, the toys are just fantastic. The car club is really, Dave, that's a really nice organization in that. Yeah. And they really support the veterans, so it's a good thing. Lee, have you been out to the VA lately? Like
Yeah.
if you have?
You want to read the letter?
Sure, thank you.
Here.
Oh, you can read it if you want. You're quite
No.
familiar with it.
Just don't hit the track button.
Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 10818. Dear Commander, I wish to extend my personal thanks to you on behalf of the Minneapolis VA healthcare patients and staff for your recent donation of 50 paperback books, 144 decks of cards, and $120 in canteen books. These items will be distributed to our patients by our dedicated volunteers. We are proud of the special services we are able to provide because of donations such as yours. The commitments you have shown to our veterans demonstrates your concern for American heroes. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, Rhonda Boyceford.
And, Lee's not saying it, but I'm saying it. Lee's totally responsible for things that go to the VA. Really appreciate that. I think it really something for me, for sure. Any questions at all? Oh, by the way, I want to thank John. I want to thank John for the USMC birthday party we had at the band. It was fantastic. Thanks, John.
Welcome.
Yeah. Any questions?
We have no questions.
I got one for John.
Yeah, you rotten.
When are you going to pull a birthday party for the Army?
I have several times.
Yeah, you have.
Weren't you there?
He can always show up to the Marine Corps one, but not his own one, huh?
That's all I have, Commissioner.
Thank you. Okay, is there a veteran or a family of veteran in distress? Remember our national home, all present will rise in comfort. last divine blessing upon our national home.
Will you bow your heads, please? Almighty God, we ask for your divine blessing on the children, families, and staff of our National Home for Children in Eaton Rapids, Michigan. May your spirit dwell with them forever, giving them health and guiding their lives. Help us to always be faithful to our fallen comrades by providing shelter and guidance and support for their families. We ask this in your holy name, Jesus. Amen.
Cover, at ease, be seated. Unfinished business. Ronnie's chair. Reading the communications associated with unfinished business.
Okay. So, I have that thank you letter that Lee read for from the VA. Great job. I don't think we've had a month where we don't get anything from them. I have a thank you card from the Nolan family with a donation of $55 to the building fund. It says, we thank you for your service and your sacrifice. The Nolan family, Eric, Sam, and Sydney, and Matt. It takes courage to serve, to protect, to keep our nation strong. You have earned the respect of your family, your community, and your country. Happy Veterans Day.
Mr. Ramos, can we dispense with the entire reading and go back to the suggestion that was made earlier, just to say we got a thank you card? If people want to read it, they can read it.
Fine with me. We got it.
Just a suggestion, as long as we're going to do that, let's put something in the post, and every month we can purge it out. Maybe these cards can be in a box or something. And mark it.
Perfect.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, we got a thank you card from Hadi and Martin for the Veterans Day program. And then we got one more from Sydney and Max Nolan specifically, thanking us for our service on Veterans Day. Mr. Dave Green received a letter from National Commander-in-Chief Brian Duffy for winning National Special Aid to Camp. So I think that's his fourth one. So he has that and another. Then we received the whole thank you booklet, which I'll leave for everybody to take a look at. This is from the Boy Scouts that we did the program for on October 4th. Their meetings are once a month, so it's a little late. So they did apologize about that. But it's a thank you for our service on Veterans Day from every Cub Scout in that pack. It's a pretty cool book if you want to have a second to look at it. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Ron. That book didn't come with crayons, did it?
I hate the crayons. All right.
Those have been good ones.
They were Crayola.
Yes. Yes.
Can I just say one thing about last Friday? Just kind of, I forgot earlier. If there's anybody in this room that hasn't been to that Veterans Day program that they have at the middle school on Veterans Day, you should really make a point of going next year. If you can get off work, go to it. It is absolutely outstanding. They bend over backwards to honor and support veterans when you're there. I just highly recommend it to everybody.
And you get a free lunch, too.
Yeah, free lunch too.
Yes, Judge.
The main speaker this year at the middle school was our adjutant. Ron, let's give him a hand.
That's all, sir.
Okay. Anybody else want to say anything about all the programs last week?
I got one other thing to add about the meat raffle. Barb, the gal that owns the Cedar Creek, handed me an envelope and said, "Here." And I opened it up, and it was a check for $200. Chuck and Nancy Magoon, I hope I'm saying their name right, made American Veteran bracelets, and they sold them, or free will offering, whatever, and they thanked us for our service and gave us $200, and the American Legion got $200. that was quite a surprise. That's not even included what I told you before. The 850 was what we made just off the meat raffle, and this is above and beyond that. So
We did the 50/50, and they had us do another 50/50. And we had a $40 donation too,
yes,
before the 50/50.
yes.
And they wanted us to do another one, so we did another 50/50.
Those that helped there had a wonderful evening. Let's give them a good hand.
That was fun.
As long as Dave's talking. Anything else? Can somebody sum up all of the programs last week? Just what we did? You must have been at a lot of them. Jerry, somebody?
Well, I think Monday we started off at, where the heck were we?
Mary's.
It was
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's. And Tuesday we were at Deerfield. And what was Wednesday, guys? Was it Wednesday?
We went to Hudson Monday.
Lane.
Okay, Tuesday was St. Mary's, and Wednesday was Deerfield. Thursday was Hudson, and then Friday was middle school. And Saturday was a car show. So 5 days out of a possible 7.
Also on Friday, we had roundtable discussion at the library with, newspaper was there, and they just wanted to hear war stories and find out what we did while we were in the military. Ken was there. Ken's a marvelous speaker, whether he wants to admit it or not.
He's not one of the stupid ones.
That's right.
Yes, he is.
Ken, you want to elaborate on that roundtable discussion? It was pretty cool.
Well, we were interviewed by the news reporter, and basically he was asking how we got into the military and some of the experiences that we had while we were in the military. It was a difficult presentation because, well, for a lot of us, when you think back on your experience in Vietnam, the gremlins come to visit you, and you don't sleep very well for a couple of weeks before the event, and usually for a couple of weeks after. So we talked a little bit about the gremlins that we experienced and some of the stress we experienced, just talking about what we dealt with. And then there was some discussion about how we were received back here in the United States. One of the things was the reception that we got from the veterans of foreign war. We weren't authorized to join, which is why there is a Vietnam Veterans of America. It exists only because we weren't allowed to join the VFW. And it's one of the reasons why I say personally that to err is human, to forgive is a necessary component of your membership to the VFW. Because if we didn't forgive that, we wouldn't be able to be members of this organization. And this organization does a lot of good work, so it's much appreciated.
Thanks, Ken. Gary, thanks. And Dave for your input, thanks. Okay. Any more old business? Yes.
Part of the old business was that I was going to apply for a grant for $25,000, and one of the major reasons I wanted to get that on board was so that our commitment to the unmet needs of veterans and active duty service members was taken care of, and we could focus more of our efforts on doing the building and getting money to support the building project. The $25,000 grant was from the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs, and I will pass this around if you want to look at it. Specifically, it said that you must be registered as a 501c3 nonprofit organization. I telephoned the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs personally and asked them if they were serious about that or if that was a typo, because as Department of Veterans Affairs, they should know full well that all veterans groups are 501c19 organizations, not 501c3. They told me that 501c19 veterans organizations are not eligible for this grant. When you guys sent me out to North Carolina to the National Convention, I actually did go to some of the seminars that they had there on grant writing. And one of the ways that they have nationally to get around this stipulation is that the National has developed a foundation, a 501c3 foundation, that we can make requests for grants through in order to overcome this kind of obstacle. I also asked the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs if we could use that method of getting around this stipulation to request the grant money. They indicated that the national organization, National VFW, has already received one of these $25,000 grants. Therefore, other veterans groups could not apply through the foundation that was established to get around this criteria in the first place. Needless to say, I'm very disappointed in the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs, and that's all I'm going to say about that. We are not eligible for that grant. I didn't do all of the legwork to finish our application for that grant because I was told personally that we were not eligible.
The state has a 501c3 organization too.
I also called the state, and Joe Hines also told me that the state has a 501c3 foundation that we may have used to approach the same issue. But by that time I was within 4 days of the deadline for this.
Because they have a board, you have to submit it to the board, it's gotta be approved by the board, but there is a 501c3. And the money runs through them and then it'll come to you. It's
Correct,
gotta go through them.
correct. But the devil is in the details, and there's a whole lot of details. So I ran out of time, I ran out of energy, and we didn't get this grant. So I apologize to my comrades for not being successful on this one. That doesn't mean we're not going to try others. The CAR program, by the way, is doing very well, and it's not reflected exactly in our financial report because we haven't moved the money from the cars that we received into the Poppy Fund, nor the Poppy Fund money that we received yet. So, just to clarify that.
In October, we took in $3,100
For
cars,
cars, okay.
just
So,
in October alone.
you know, our Poppy Fund is probably closer to $10,000.
We got 3 more cars came in this week.
I don't know what they do without you
It's
fixing.
just Tuesday. There's 3 more.
I can't fix using yours.
I just donated.
He doesn't care if it's about Christmas.
It's old age. Yeah, that's the problem, Ken.
What's that?
You can't hear?
No, I can't.
We've been talking about you. Okay, I need a motion to approve unfinished business as we've heard it, unless there is more.
I'll make a motion, we approve unfinished business.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. New business. See him.
I have one new business. Bunny Wandell, the lady who used to do our printing, she unfortunately passed away this weekend. So I think, as opposed to, she did a lot of our printing for many, many years before I took over. I think we should send a sympathy card to I think his name's Lynn, if I remember.
Prompt printing.
Prompt printing.
Yeah, send it to them, you know, to express our condolences and thank them for the service they provided for us for many years. She passed away on Veterans Day.
Okay. Thanks, Ron. Any more new business? Here.
The engineer group is going to have a Christmas party. That's the group that we've adopted in Hammond. They're going to have a Christmas party on the 10th of December, a week before ours, and we've agreed to help them out with that.
It's a third, Gary.
Pardon me?
It's the third.
Oh, it's the third? Oh, I thought it was the 10th. Never mind, it's the third. So I talked to Lieutenant Bacon today, and there's going to be about 140 people to feed. There's going to be 90 kids between the ages of 0. I don't know how that's possible, but
They're gleaming their own heads up.
between 0 and 12. And I've spoken to auxiliary to see if they would be willing to have the bill as far as gifts for the kids are concerned, which would, if approved by this body, would come out of the unmet needs poppy fund. And we don't know exactly how much that's going to be. It's just going to, I don't even know what a dollar amount would be to approve. But, anybody have any ideas about how much toys cost? I don't know. So we need to talk about that a little bit. See if it's something we want to do. So my motion, I guess, would be, if there's going to be a motion, is that we approve funds. It won't be thousands. I don't know how much it would be, but to buy half of about 45 gifts for the kids of these troops, and at the same time provide some meals.
At the present time, we, as an organization, we can write a check out to a vendor at a max of $750 for any veteran that is in need. I'd like to make a motion, we have a max ceiling at $750 for the event. If it comes up less, then we deal with less. I'd like to make that motion at $750 at max.
One second.
Is that gonna work, Gary?
I think that would, I'm pretty sure that would work.
Okay, okay, I just wanted your opinion.
I mean, I don't know, I really, it's been a long time since I had little kids. I don't know how much toys cost. I haven't been out there.
Just don't have
Yes.
45 gifts times 15
The
bucks.
45 kids with $20 a piece would be $900.
But he's got
So, and we're looking at half, 750 should cover it.
Yeah, you're looking 10 to 20 bucks.
Plus, we just picked up kids' toys for, from the car club too, so we got quite a few there. But 750, I think, is good.
Okay,
Motion was made at
motion made and seconded. Okay, so we need to vote on it. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Okay. Any more new business?
Building.
Oh, you go on forever.
I will cut it short.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this from up there.
Somebody wanna find your soapbox for me?
Actually, on my way up, I just walked by Bruce Taylor. You wanna stand up, Bruce? Fortunately, breaking our jobs into bite-sized pieces has resulted in a volunteer. Mr. Taylor has volunteered to fire Mr. Pomeroy from being the store clerk and take over that job.
No, he's not fired this early.
Congratulations.
He's usurping your store. And you want to say a few words on when it'll be open?
As of right now, we're planning on Mondays at the office and for an hour every Monday. And of course, at the meeting, you can make arrangements with me to meet other times. Between now and December 1st, I'm going to try and inventory everything and get everything straightened up and whatever.
So this will start for now on Mondays, starting December.
Starting
First
in
Monday in December.
Yeah, the first Monday.
You're in orientation phase. Thanks, Bruce. Okay, the building.
number?
Oh, phone number?
Reach that?
Say again?
Phone number where it can be reached.
Me,
Yes.
651-253-4160. I also have an email address, all small case, Bruce Taylor 1950 at hotmail.com.
Okay, we're done with, good, we're done with that. I've chaired the building committee now for 2 years, and it is turning out to be a very, very complex process. And I don't think all of you, particularly the new folks, are going to be aware of all of the decisions that have been made by this post for the last 10 years that affect where we actually wound up. So, I'm making a proposal. The proposal is that we invite the auxiliary to our December meeting. I will put an announcement in the next newsletter.
I already have that working on.
Terrific. So we already have the article designed. It basically outlines a strategy to move forward on the building proposed to be constructed within Freedom Park. What I'm proposing to do is go back and do a timeline from the time we were in the Armory to when we moved to the Commons, when we moved from the Commons to our place on North Shore Drive, and the route that we will take to get from North Shore Drive to Freedom Park. That timeline will look at what were the financial implications of our moves. Did that drive our moves? Was space the element that drove our moves? And each one of our decisions, including the decision not to pursue the building, the St. Croix Press building, will be outlined in that flow chart. That tells us how we got to where we are today. And the next series of steps that we need to look at is how do we move forward? What I've found is that some of the complexity in our move is a result of the processes that are required from the veterans of foreign wars at the post level, at the state level, and at the national level. So there's a process that you go through in order to build a building on a piece of land. That process is now complete. We are also suggesting that we involve the Senior Center. The Senior Center is part of the Wisconsin Area Agency on Aging. The Area Agency on Aging is a federal program. You think we're complex. That program is complex. They have steps that we have to initiate in order to include the seniors in our project. The last participant is the city of New Richmond and the Parks Board. Those are more processes that need to be put in place. What I've discovered is that I've been operating under certain assumptions for the last 2 years, moving this post into Freedom Park. Some of those assumptions are incorrect, or some of those assumptions may be modified. So we need to talk about what those assumptions were and what are the possibilities and maybe opportunities to modify some of those assumptions. Specifically, our bylaws forbid us to own any piece of property in common with any other organization, including veterans organizations. We either own the piece of property independently, or we can rent from somebody, but we can't own anything collaboratively with any other organization. I've been operating under the impression that we would be renting land from the city of New Richmond for $100 for 99 years, actually $99 for 99 years. with an option to renew our lease, driven by us. I've also been operating under the assumption that we would own the building and therefore be financially responsible for maintaining it and carrying it on in the future. That's a huge financial responsibility. It's within the realm of possibility that we may not have to take on that responsibility. We need to talk about the implications both ways. What happens if we're totally responsible for making sure that building is financially stable on into the future and have a funding source to make it financially stable? Or what happens if we are tenants in that building, assist in its construction, but are not responsible for maintaining it? There are a lot of intricacies in there. Some of you have seen this article in the New Richmond Press. Some of you have not. It was my intent to really congratulate this post and the city of New Richmond for as collaborative as we have been. The military was in the park 3 times this summer, building the road that outlines the borders of our respective post locations. If you saw this article, there's a picture of a road in it, but you would never know that the military had designed that. This picture was available to them. It shows the military and some of their equipment out there. Didn't make the New Richmond news. My intent in sitting down with the reporter was to say that, you know, nationally we've been in a conflictual election process for the last, God, it feels like forever. And it's been so contentious it makes me want to hurl. However, the government in the city of New Richmond and the other groups that support that government have been collaborative. The military has been collaborative. This, folks, is Camelot compared to what's been going on nationally. It was my intention to highlight Camelot, not to show a piece of road that looks like it's in the middle of the Sahara Desert. I also told the reporter that we were going to draw kind of an overall view of this process, who was involved in it, and I didn't want any of that to be in the paper. What I wanted to be in the paper is a picture of the mayor and us giving our grant check to county materials that's also been supportive. So private industry has been supportive, the military, the Parks Board, all of the, you know, there's just been multiple participants in helping make this thing happen. This did not come out in the article. Actually, a lot of people were mentioned in it that should not have been. Some of them didn't even know that their names were going to come out in this. This is the second time that's happened to me. If you recall, I went to testify in front of the Parks Board. I did not know that there was a New Richmond journalist in the audience. And the next day, our new post building was on the front page of the New Richmond News, and you guys hadn't voted to approve it yet. That was embarrassing to me. I had to apologize to you and say the New Richmond News does not now, nor will they ever, make decisions on behalf of the VFW. You guys do. If they want to prematurely put something in without our permission, I guess they have the right of free speech, but that was not cool. This is also not cool. I'll deal with that. The next step for us is to sit down and really look at, from the 10,000 foot level, according to the city, we need to come down to the 5,000 foot level. And basically what they're saying is they don't want us to show an architect's drawing of the building. What they want is, what do you intend to do with the building out in Freedom Park? What kind of space requirements do you have? Draw the boxes. They don't want anything in them. They are very, very excited to have us out in Freedom Park. They're fully behind us. But we were a bit premature in drawing some of the details and in our assumption that we would own the building and be financially responsible for it. So I think there may be some opportunities for us. There's also some risks for us. And I only want to talk about this once. So next meeting will be mostly dedicated to the building, and I'll write out as much as I possibly can so it's as clear as I can possibly make it. Now, that's my style. If you remember when I had Mitch's job as quartermaster, I had 2 books, not 2 sets of books, 2 books that were exactly the same. One was my working book, one is in the post, so you guys can look at where every dime went. I will do the same thing with the building project. I will have 2 books, one that I play with, because I need to play with it every day, and one that you guys can look at that looks at decision-making points. Why did we make that decision? It'll have pictures, there'll be color crayons for Ramos, everything will be in that book. So if you have any questions, come to the meeting next time. If you want input, come to the December meeting. I honestly do not have time, energy, or inclination to sit down with everybody individually. There's 420 members. There ain't enough of me to explain all this stuff to you individually. So I'm going to write it out. If there are then questions, let's do some of that next week. I will be meeting with the building committee sometime between now and after deer season. Well, after deer season, I should say. Any questions now? This is one of the most important things our post can do. What?
Could you repeat that whole thing?
I'm sorry it takes so long, but if you're going to build a building that expensive, we need to spend a little time on it. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thanks for the rounds, Jenny, into the wake up there. Okay. I need a motion to approve new business as we've heard, unless there's more.
Talking with first year trustee Diana Brewer this evening. She's had some health setbacks. She's no longer going to be able to continue her duties as trustee, so we need to find a new trustee as soon as possible.
Okay.
Thank her for the work that she's done.
You've done a great job being a trustee. Thank you, Diana. That's it, isn't it? Yeah. I need a motion then to approve new business as we've heard it.
I make that motion.
Second. You all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Are there any visitors or guest speakers? There being no further business, we will have our closing ceremony. All rise and cover. Chaplain, will you hold it? You want this before or after? We'll do it after. Chaplain, we'll look at the closing ceremony.
Gentlemen, will you bow your heads with me, please? Almighty God, the hour has come when we must part. We commit ourselves to your care. Thou who art our strong tower of defense and our protection, grant that in life's battles we may be strong and brave, living such lives of stainless integrity that shall reflect honor upon our country in the veteran and foreign wars of the United States, and glorify thy great and holy name. May thy good providence shield us from all harm, watching over those who even now guard the gates of freedom, and bring us together again in true comradeship and peace. This we pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Cover. Attention. Salute the colors. Present arms. Order arms. At ease. I now declare this business session of the VFW Post 1028 closed. Our next regular meeting will be
December 20th.
December 20th. That's great.
I can have this, right?
Yeah.
I need to have
Ronnie, Jerry.
When we get done. We're done.
that's neat.